The phenomenal success of Squid Game can be attributed to a lot of things. The original sets, instantly memeable images, great character development, talented cast, enthralling dilemmas, and social commentary about the callousness and widening disparities of late-stage capitalism. Much of the show's success, however, is built on existing material. Here then are the top 6 examples of Squid Game evoking or borrowing the style and themes of other films and series. Like Squid Game, the film THX 1138 features sterile, vast and airy interiors. The inhabitants of this dystopian environment, sealed off from the outside world, are dehumanized by being assigned a number and made to wear identical clothes. The guards are menacingly stripped of human identity and differentiation by uniforms, and wear masks that prevent the conveyance of empathy or weakness. They assert dominance and instill fear by almost never speaking. Just as in Squid Game, there is a strict separation between the powerless and the powerful, who use technology to monitor and determine events from a cordoned-off area. Punishments are lethal, privacy is forbidden, and enforcers and victims seem trapped in the same loop of repression, in settings where the sheer metal surfaces of modern cavernous interiors are frequently smeared with blood and strewn with bodies. Just as in Squid Game, the protagonist of the story is a similar everyman with no particular strengths or abilities, who acts as the audience's eyes and ears in this inhospitable environment. The protagonist is always weighing up his moral quandary and wants to resist his entrapment, but isn't sure how. His little moments of empathy and compassion set him apart, and we follow him as he searches for ways to persevere and prevail. The VIPs in Squid Game are morally corrupt plutocrats whose wealth and power has led to them existing outside or above the law. A circle of patricians traveling the world and meeting up periodically to enjoy front-row seats to displays of bloodsport, where they bet on the outcomes. The opulence, debauchery, indifference to suffering, and contestants dying for entertainment is immediately evocative of Roman aristocrats watching gladiatorial spectacles, and the setting, its smoky dimness, furniture, lit candles, plants, wine, and the VIP's masquerade masks all recall the surrealist scenes of Fellini's Satyricon, with its fat and greedy nobles, spacious interiors, fires, feasting, wine, sordid spectacles, and atmosphere of depravity. The style of the masks also evokes another powerful and wealthy realm, that of Venice at the peak of its merchant power, where festival-goers would don ornate, exquisitely crafted masks, providing anonymity but exuding power, prosperity, and decadence. Note too the furniture, where it is sometimes ambiguous whether the human forms are real people or sculptures, in reference to an iconic setting of another corrupted and vicious future world, the milk bar in A Clockwork Orange. In Squid Game, the contestants and their various drives to survive begin to separate into different clusters. Following what the show suggests are the instincts of human nature, they divide, very roughly, into 2 forms of groups. One physically weaker, more compassionate, diverse, intelligent, and democratic, and the other hierarchical, staunch, morally indifferent, and gravitating around an alpha male who affords direction and protection. This is evocative of the basic structure of Lord of the Flies, where a group of schoolboys, marooned on an island, gradually divide into a physically weaker, democratic group, led by the sensitive Ralph, and the autocratic, more primally driven group, led by the alpha character of Jack, a group that isn't afraid to bully, steal, and even kill in order to improve their standing, a dynamic where their collective interest of survival ultimately suffers. Squid Game's central character, arguably, is the old man. Increasingly disaffected with his wealth and power, he embarks on a huge, morally questionable project, combining cutting-edge technology, commerce, and entertainment to create a kind of hybrid of theme park and gladiatorial arena, a modern-day coliseum for ultra-wealthy clients. The old man, tied to a past innocence and happiness he cannot let go of, and is insatiably trying to relive, inhabits his own creation, exploiting the desperation of ruined lives in order to enjoy the thrill of competition, the visceral human emotion, and the high stakes. This evokes Westworld, where Dr. Robert Ford, a technological genius, increasingly restless, similarly combines cutting-edge technology, commerce, and entertainment to create a theme park of the Old West for the ultra-wealthy to enjoy adventures and indulge their fantasies free from moral consequences. Robert Ford is similarly tied to a past of family innocence and happiness, which he uses his creations as a means to relive, and he similarly inhabits his own created world, ethically problematic, orchestrating everything behind the scenes. Squid Game, of course, references and is probably inspired to some degree by the Hunger Games. Contestants, sometimes against their will or compelled by difficult circumstances, find themselves in an arena trying to survive for the entertainment of others. With everything monitored and devised by those in a command center full of staff operating computers, and with a logistical frontman overseeing everything on behalf of a shadowy autocrat, the contestants are gradually eliminated, leaving a pair of finalists. The uniformed guards, or peacekeepers, are nameless, faceless drones who intimidate, repress, barely speak, and execute contestants, or subversives, without mercy or hesitation. Just as in Squid Game, the players form factions, improvise, and the audience follows a main character who forms the moral core and refuses to kill the innocent. All of this culminates in a moment, repeated beat for beat in Squid Game, where the hero, left with a runner-up, and rejecting the role of figure of brutal entertainment, subverts the game by shouting out to whoever is observing that they refuse to play the game anymore. Finally, Squid Game has more than a few resonances of The Running Man. In this 80s action film, a lead character and his fellow prisoners in a penal colony are given an opportunity for redemption and freedom, even agreeing to sign a contract if they agree to perform in a series of bloodsport games in a vast underground complex where they are stalked by murderous characters. Facing near impossible odds, the players are eliminated one by one for the entertainment of a huge television audience, who revel in and place wagers on the encounters. A corporation oversees the production from a control booth where staff sit at computers and a cynical showman hosts each broadcast. To varying degrees, in each of these referenced films and shows, human life means little. The gap between the rich and the poor, indebted, and dispossessed has desperately widened. Late-stage capitalism is depraved, decadent, rotten, and vicious, and entertainment serves as a metaphor for a wider succumbing of democracy and civility to autocracy and social Darwinism, worlds in which, in the case of Squid Game, people bet on people just as they might bet on horses.